This is you. Every morning you wake up, go to work, come home, sleep, and do it all over again. You got the degree, you got the job, you got the raise, and yet every single month you look at your bank account and think, where did it all go? And the entire time, quietly, legally, systematically, someone else is getting rich off the gap between what you earn and what you keep. I am not going to ask you to take my word for it. I am going to show you the math. And once you see it, you will never look at your paycheck the same way again. So let's start with a number. Sit with it for a moment before I explain it. 90,000. That is the average number of hours an American spends working over their lifetime. And at the end of all of that, the average American retires with less than $87,000 in savings. According to the Federal Reserve, that is less than one full year of median household income. After 90,000 hours of work, that is not bad luck. That is a pattern. And patterns this consistent do not happen by accident. If one person ended up with nothing saved, we would call it bad decisions. But when the majority end up in the same place, that is a system producing exactly the outcome it was designed to produce. There is nothing wrong with you. The problem is that you have been playing a game without ever being shown the rulebook. And the rulebook was written by people who were already winning. Today, I am going to show you that rulebook. And we are going to start with the one that is already taking your money. Right now. While you watch this video, there are 3 systems working against middle-class wealth simultaneously. Every single day, whether you know it or not. The first is taxes. If you earn a salary, you pay ordinary income tax, anywhere between 22 and 37% depending on your income. So on a $100,000 salary after federal taxes, state taxes, and FICA, you might take home $65,000. That $35,000 is gone before you make a single financial decision. But wealthy people pay a different kind of tax entirely. When money comes from investments, stocks, real estate businesses, you pay capital gains tax. The long-term rate, 15 to 20%. Regardless of whether we are talking $50,000 or $50 million, a teacher earning $65,000 pays around 22%. A hedge fund manager earning $65 million pays around 20%. The teacher pays more. Same country, same roads, same schools. Completely different rules. According to the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy, the 400 wealthiest Americans pay an effective rate of around 23%. The average nurse pays 24%. The richest people on Earth pay roughly the same rate as a nurse. Anger without direction is useless. So let's keep moving, because the next one is even quieter than taxes, and it has been leaving your account every single month. Debt. Subtle, quiet, and absolutely devastating. Most of us think of debt as a necessary evil. Student loans, mortgages, car payments. That is just life, and that is true. But what nobody explains is that there are 2 completely different relationships with debt, and they produce completely opposite outcomes. For the middle class, debt is a cost. The average American household pays between $2,300 and $3,500 every single year, purely in interest, not paying down principal, not building equity, just the cost of having borrowed. Carry that from age 25 to 65, and you will pay up to $140,000 in interest alone. At a 7% return, that money invested, instead, becomes over $1 million. You did not just lose the interest. You lost the future wealth it could have built. Wealthy people borrow enormous amounts too, but they use it differently. They borrow against their investments instead of selling them, paying 0 tax on the borrowed money while their assets keep growing. When they die, their heirs inherit everything with the gains largely wiped clean for tax purposes. Your debt makes your bank richer every month. Their debt makes them richer every month. Same concept, completely different direction. And we are still not done. Because the third pillar is the one you have been blaming yourself for. Since 1979, according to the Economic Policy Institute, Worker productivity in America has increased by 65%. Better technology, better tools, better processes. By every measure, the American workforce has gotten dramatically better. Wages after inflation? Up 18%. 65% more productive. 18% more pay. CEO compensation over the same period? Up 1,460%. You are not imagining it when you feel like you work harder every year and have less to show for it. The data confirms exactly what you feel. Here is what all three systems look like together. In 1989, the middle class held 26% of all American wealth. The top 1% held 24%. The middle class actually had more. By 2000, the middle class share had fallen to 15%. The top 1%? 38%. In 35 years. Every single decade, the middle class share has gotten smaller and the concentration at the top has grown. This is not a coincidence. This is not a cycle. This is a structural direction driven by the tax code, the debt system, and the wage structure working together. But here is what nobody tells you. The same system that built those three pillars left a door open, and most people walk right past it every single day. Here is what the financial system does not want you to figure out. The tools wealthy people use to protect and grow their money are not locked behind a minimum balance or a financial advisor. Most of them are sitting in your employee benefits portal right now, waiting. Unused. You need to stop being only a wage earner and start becoming an owner. Not quit your job, not start a business, something simpler. When you buy an index fund, you become a fractional owner of hundreds of the most profitable companies in the world. And that ownership compounds in a way a salary structurally cannot. $500 a month at age 25, invested in a simple S&P 500 index fund at its historical average return, becomes $2.6 million by 65. You contributed $240,000. Compound growth did the rest. $500 a month, $16.67 a day. Less than most people spend on subscriptions they have forgotten about. But where you put that money matters almost as much as the decision to invest it. This is where the tax conversation becomes your weapon. A Roth IRA lets you contribute after tax dollars that grow completely tax-free. When you withdraw in retirement, you pay zero tax on any of the gains. Zero. On potentially millions of dollars. The government cannot touch it. Anyone earning under $161,000 can contribute up to $7,000 per year. Yet only 35% of Americans own one. 65% are leaving this completely unused. And the 401k match. If your employer offers one, that match is the single highest guaranteed return available to any working person. An instant 50% return before a single investment is made. And yet, 1 in 4 eligible employees leave the full match unclaimed every single paycheck. Because nobody ever explained how it worked. I know some of you are thinking, this sounds great, but I do not have $500 a month. I hear you. Because that is the cruelest part of the design. The system that makes it harder to build wealth is the exact same system that makes it harder to start. But here's what the data shows. It is not about the amount. It is about the habit and the time horizon. $20 a month from age 25 becomes over $52,000 by 65. $20. The difference between those who build wealth and those who do not is rarely how much they earn. It is what percentage of income goes toward ownership versus consumption, and how early that habit begins. The most dangerous thing the system does is not the taxes, not even the suppressed wages. It is the story it tells you about yourself, that you are just not good with money, that wealth is for other people. That story is the real cage. I spent years feeling exactly this way, looking at my finances every month, feeling that quiet shame of not being further along. And then I started reading the data, and I realized the shame was not mine. It had been handed to me by a system that benefits when you blame yourself instead of understanding the mechanics. You are not behind because you are bad with money. You are behind because nobody handed you a map. Nobody said, here are the 3 systems working against you. Here is why your salary alone will never make you free. And here are the accounts that let you legally keep what you earn. The system works better when you do not know, when you stay on the wheel, when you keep running. And now you know. One thing, just one thing. Right now, before you close this video, go look at your employer benefits. Find out if you have a 401k and what the match is. If you are not contributing enough to get the full match, change it today. 10 minutes on your HR portal. That one action could mean tens of thousands of dollars over your working lifetime. No 401k? Open a Roth IRA today. Fidelity, Vanguard, Schwab. All free to open. Start with whatever you have, $20, $50, $100. The amount is secondary to the decision to begin, because the most expensive mistake you can make is waiting. And you have already waited long enough. The middle class was designed to never build wealth. 3 systems, the tax code, the debt structure, and the wage system, work together in ways most people never see clearly enough to fight back against. And the first act of financial resistance is simply understanding how they work. You cannot beat a game you do not understand. You cannot escape a trap you cannot see. The wheel is still there. It will always be there. But you do not have to keep running on it. The first step to beating the system is understanding it. You just took it,